Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Four Horsemen. My name is Paul, representing Diecast Graveyard. Along with my fellow builders, Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, Jeff from 164 Revival, and Xavier from Diecast Show Customs, we make up the Four Horsemen. Now, the purpose of this group is just a bunch of friends getting together and testing each other every month to see what we can come up with when we're presented with a theme. Now, the best part about this group here is now we are letting the subscribers know what we're going to do month to month so we can let them participate in the builds also. Well, this month's build is a 1947 Chevy pickup truck, and the theme is post-apocalyptic or Mad Max style. Now, this is definitely pushing me beyond my envelope because I've never done one of these cars before. So we're going to see what we come up with. Let's go ahead and get started. Here I've already drilled the truck apart. Now this month's build was decided on by Xavier from Diecast Show Customs, and he sent us all these 47 Chevy pickup trucks. Now, that's one of the cool parts of this group here is that we all have to use the same casting and we all have to stick within the realm of the theme selected by people from this group every month. So next month's build will be from Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and it'll be a 32 Ford Coupe Rat Rod. And I know that that's going to be a cool one too. I've taken the truck apart, like I said, and we're going to turn this into a post-apocalyptic style. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mate it up to a four-wheel drive base. Now, I got this from a Ford Raptor Hot Wheels. I'm going to trim the fender wells so the wheels appear to fit a little bit better. And with this type of build, folks, there are no rules. You just got to remember that in Mad Max style, that when you are building a vehicle like this, that you're out there to survive. So the more wild, crazy, and outlandish you make this build with weapons and things to help you survive in a post-nuclear world, then everything like that is acceptable. Here I've got this spiked cow catcher that was made 3D printed from Bearcat 3D Designs. Grizz does some pretty wild stuff, and every so often he'll send me some cool things and say, here, try this in your next build. And I go, okay, why not? So right now I'm just kind of fitting things to see where they'll go and how they'll go and just get ideas along the way. Now I may see an idea that I like at this moment, and then as I'm putting things together go, no, I don't like that. But we're going to take some pieces, parts out of other cars. I like this jet engine looking thing that I'm taking out of this El Camino, and we're going to put that in there, and that'll be its power source. And a few other things. Here's some nitrous tanks. I think those are pretty darn cool. At least that's what I'm calling them anyway. And like I said, it's just up to you and your imagination. I got to figure out a way to mount a few weapons on here and do a pretty cool paint job and continue from there. I'm getting pretty thirsty. How about you? I found these fuel tanks. Now, I thought about putting these on, and they look pretty cool, but you know, later on I decided not to mount those, and I found some other things to put on there. But again, like I said, it's up to your imagination and what you want to do. So I opted not to use the fuel tanks, but I've got them for another build. Here we've got all kinds of parts. Now we're going to be gluing a whole bunch of stuff together, and you can use super glue or epoxy or whatever. I'm keeping the interior, but I'm not putting the windscreen back in. Use a little bit of activator here to get it to stick to the base. That stuff works pretty good with your super glues. A little more activator in there. Any way you can to get these things to stick and hold together. It messed up a little bit later on, so I went ahead and mixed up some epoxy and put that together, and that definitely held it. Now we're just going to glue it to the base, and again, I wound up using some epoxy. For some reason, the super glue just wasn't holding. I do like using it, though. I picked these up for $1.50 at the dollar store. Well, we'll let that sit for a while and hold that in place. Get a little bit more in there to hold the body onto the base. That's looking pretty good. Let's let that sit for a while and we'll move on. Like I said, it didn't hold very well, so I wanted mixing up some epoxy, and this stuff definitely holds. I think I got this at the Hobby Lobby. Mix out equal amounts of your epoxy and your hardener. This stuff smells pretty bad. It smells like rotten eggs. And it'll start to harden in about 5 minutes, so you got to work quickly here. Got these little hors d'oeuvre spikes or whatever they're called. They're not really toothpicks because they're really fat on one end. But that's what I use to mix paint with. I'll use this to mix the epoxy with, etc. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. Now, make sure you check out the other guys' builds, where I will have some links in the comments section, but go check out Keith and Jeff and Xavier's builds. And if you don't subscribe to them, please do, because they're fantastic builders and they offer a lot of other videos to teach you how to do these things to enhance your hobby. Now, if you're coming from their channel and you don't subscribe to mine, please do. We all are great friends and we like to do these builds because it pushes the limit on our imagination on what we try to do when we go to do these builds. And we love to do them, and we love to share them with you. Now, there are other folks that are participating in these builds also. For instance, Diecast Sheriff. Jeremy, check out his build. He's participating in this. Jim Silva. John Sellers. He's got some fantastic builds. Ron Raby over at Somo Diecast. Jamie at Devil's Details Diecast, and many, many more. Please check out these folks. They've got some fantastic builds, and they've got a lot of things to offer, and if you don't subscribe to them, please do. This is a fun hobby, and hey, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So watch how they do it, watch how we do it, and you might get some ideas of your own. And who knows, maybe you'll wind up making your own YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, putting these things together and letting them harden up in place, the parts and everything, putting this cow catcher type grill on. Now later on, I was trying to hold it and I snapped the two tongs off on the inside spikes there. I wound up having to glue those back in place. And I started saying some curse words. That wasn't fun. I said, oh man. But get it set where you want to and set something underneath it or whatever to hold it in place and have some fun with this. Now when we go to paint it later on, I use some matte colored paint, or at least paint that dries out matte when it's dry. And then I'll go in with one of those Tamiya weathering kits and I'll dirty up the tires and the fenders and stuff like that and make it look like it's been roaming around the desert. It's a lot of fun. All right, that's been drying for a while. Now we're going to glue that El Camino turbo engine or turbine engine, whatever it is, in the back. I put some screen over the front windshield. And I also put a machine gun sticking out of the hood. Now that whole section in there, there's no engine. I mean, there's not a real engine anyway. But since I've got the turbine engines in the back, I put a machine gun in the front sticking out of the hood. And you can see that there. I'm also going to mount another one later on. And that'll be pretty cool too. There's the nitrous tanks. That's looking pretty cool. We'll let that dry for a while and we'll come back to it here in just a bit. Let's mess with a few other things. All right. We'll just keep grabbing some parts and putting things together and doing what we can here. Here I decided to put some posts in the bed of the truck. And then I'm going to surround the back of the truck with some concertina wire. It's barbed wire, but it's got really sharp edges on the ends of it, so it'll deter you from climbing aboard. We're going to need at least 4 of those. That's looking pretty cool. That'll hold that wire really good. Let's speed things up here a little bit. We got the posts in, and like I said, I mounted another machine gun in between the 2 engines. Now I put this little white piece here just to hold the front of the machine gun until the glue tacks up or dries, whichever happens first. That's looking pretty cool. Now I went ahead and started wrapping that concertina wire around the outside of the truck. And again, this is just to keep people from climbing on top of the thing. Got that pretty heavy duty bumper in the back. There's the machine gun in the top and the one sticking out of the hood. Looking pretty cool. Let's go ahead and move on. And again, that's what it looks like here. Here we need to do a little bit of painting to kind of make it look subdued. We're going to use this paint from Spray Gunner called Chroma Air. I've got black, I've got this gray, and I could mix up some brown, but I've already got some here with the Createx paint. The cool thing about the Chroma Air paint, folks, is that it's already pre-mixed and you don't have to mix it up with any thinner or anything before you put it in your airbrush. It's airbrush ready. And here's the truck. This is what we started with. This was Xavier's idea at Diecast Show Customs, and he sent every one of us here one of these Butterfinger 47 Chevy pickup trucks. It was pretty cool, but I had a lot of fun with this. And here's the final result. This is my first attempt at a post-apocalyptic, post-nuclear blast era vehicle. It was cool. And again, there's no rules. There are no rules, so you can do whatever you want to make it look cool like this. I used, for the weathering, I used one of the Tamiya weathering kits. It's got like a little makeup brush in it. Made the tires look dirty and worn. I used those colors, the Chroma Air paints and the Createx Auto Air paint to get that brown, gray, black look, and pieced it all together. And like I said, this is what I came up with. I'm very, very happy with this build. Please make sure you check out all the other builders, and especially my teammates, Keith and Jeff and Xavier. The link will be in the comment section of this video. And please check out any prior Four Horsemen videos. Also check out spraygunner.com. They're a complete airbrush store. The 3D parts were made by Bearcat 3D Designs, so go check out Grizz's webpage at www.bearcat3ddesigns.com. He's got some great stuff, and you'll enjoy his webpage. Thank you so much for joining me here on this episode of the Four Horsemen. And we do this once a month, and the build is due on the very last day of the month. So that's what you can set your calendar to when it comes to seeing these videos. My name is Paul, representing Diecast Graveyard for the Four Horsemen. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and cheers.